All right, I'm now being joined live from our Abuja studio by Gloria Ume Ezeoke. So hi there, Gloria. It's great that you're...
Hello, good to see you.
Yeah, we're going to be kicking off with politics in the courtroom, right?
Yes, we have this Anambra PDP controversy going back and forth again. Well, that's we're going to have more details coming up for you. Many thanks for joining us here in the Federal Capital Territory. The Supreme Court has dismissed an application for stay of proceedings by the People's Democratic Party candidate in the Anambra governorship election, Mr. Nicholas Ukachukwu. Mr. Ukachukwu had asked the Apex Court to suspend the judgment of the Port Harcourt Court of Appeal in the suit filed by Mr. Tony Nwoye against his candidacy. Mr. Nwoye is asking the Appellate Court to reverse the judgment of the Federal High Court, which pronounced Mr. Ukachukwu as the PDP candidate for the November 16 Anambra governorship election.
A five-man panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice Walter Onoge, cleared the coast for the Port Harcourt Division of the Court of Appeal to deliver judgment in the suit filed by Mr. Tony Nwoye, challenging the verdict of a Federal High Court, recognizing Mr. Nicholas Ukachukwu as the candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the governorship election in Anambra State. In the brief ruling, the Apex Court dismissed the application for stay of proceedings filed by Mr. Nicholas Ukachukwu on the grounds that the application is aimed at arresting the judgment of the Court of Appeal. Mr. Ukachukwu had, through his counsel, told the court that his client's right to fair hearing was breached at the Court of Appeal and therefore wanted the panel of justices at the Appeal Court to be reconstituted.
Yeah, they say we'll give their full reasons on the 20th of December. Well, they have already said we should go to the Court of Appeal and conclude.
Lawyer to Mr. Tony Nwoye, however, contested the argument of Mr. Ukachukwu's counsel, saying the application is only a ploy to arrest the judgment of the Court of Appeal sitting in Port Harcourt. Although the counsel to Mr. Nwoye, Joe Kiari Gazama, declined speaking on camera, Mr. Tony Nwoye expressed satisfaction with the verdict of the court.
I thank the court today for the bench ruling they gave as it concerns the motion for stay of proceedings filed against delivering the judgment at Court of Appeal. It shows that this judiciary is the last hope of common man. I thank God that the judiciary rose to the occasion. I thank God that it was expeditiously heard and ruling delivered.
This verdict by the Apex Court will now prepare the parties involved in the suit to receive the judgment of the Appeal Court to know who will eventually fly the flag of the party in the November 16 governorship election.
The Federal Capital Development Administration has marked the official secretariat of the breakaway faction of the People's Democratic Party for demolition. Channel's television crew was barred from accessing the building, which is located at number 4 Oyi Crescent by IBB Way, Maitama, by security operatives. However, an undercover visit to the building showed that it was marked with a bold red marker which reads, Demolition by DC Development Control, October 11, 2013. The dispute between the People's Democratic Party and the splinter group, the new PDP, has gone beyond mere disagreement as members now engage in open fights. In Kano, about 10 people have been injured following attacks by supporters of both groups. But confirming the incident, the State Commissioner of Police, Musa Daura, says the members of the new PDP have been causing a lot of confusion in the state and that about 4 people have been arrested.
The PDP, they are just trying to inaugurate some members, and somewhere along the line, some people came with the intention, or rather to be as part of the meeting. Apparently, they attempted to attack some innocent people. So based on that, our policemen who were there to provide security apprehended them and brought to the station, or rather to headquarters. As I'm talking to you now, the investigation is going on.
It's a busy day for the ruling People's Democratic Party in Delta State as it welcomes to its fold hundreds of members who decamped from the opposition political parties to the PDP. The governor, Dr. Emmanuel Oduaha, was meant to receive the new members at Isoko North local government area, but the secretary to the state government, Mr. Vozwori Macaulay, stood in for him. For the PDP, this is a huge plus to the party ahead of the next council elections.
Ozora Township in Isoko local government area of Delta State may not have seen this kind of mammoth crowd in recent times. But here they are, women, men and youth of the area, all gathered to witness the declaration of over 100 politicians of the People's Democratic Party. All of them are said to be former members of the All Progressives Congress, the Democratic People's Party and the ADC.
I am one of the founding fathers of this party. 9 of us created PDP in Delta State. But when the party turned out to be something else, once we no longer belong, we no longer believe what the party is turning to. That's why some of us get aggressive.
While receiving the group, the secretary to the state government who stood in for the governor said the action of these decampees is a sign that Delta is working.
What you see today is the who is who in Isoko North politics. There is no community that is political togetherness are not represented here today. And the crowd you see here today, if they vote for PDP, is there any party that can defeat them?
We went back to our people to convince them and make them realize that there is only one party in this state, which is PDP. They bought into our project. We have been able to give them a very transparent leadership in the local government.
Since the return to democratic rule in 1999, the PDP has been the ruling party in Delta State and they are not ready to give it up yet, which is why it's opening its arms to receive more members.
Our Deputy Senate President, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, has urged the Presidential Advisory Committee on National Dialogue to ensure that the unity of Nigeria remains sacrosanct as the nation prepares for the conference. Senator Ekweremadu, who gave this advice while receiving members of the committee on a visit to the National Assembly, also condemned the call for Sovereign National Conference, describing it as an invitation to anarchy.
Today, what we have in our constitution is the process for amendment. There is no such provision in this constitution that can successfully power a new constitution. So we borrowed the example of other countries that have had this kind of experience, like Zimbabwe, Kenya, Brazil, to bring into our constitution some framework that can support a possible new constitution in the future. So we've made this proposal in the amendment process we're doing now, and I'll tell you clearly that the Senate have passed that proposal. Because if we say that we're a country that believes in the rule of law, we must do everything in accordance with the law and not the rule of the tongue. So when we hear people talking about sovereign national conference, referendum and all that, there must be a legal basis for it. So you don't wake up when you have a constitutional government in place and say you want a sovereign national conference to impose the will of the people on the rest of all of everybody without a legal basis. So that's absolutely very difficult. Other countries have had this kind of challenge, and what they did first was to provide a legal basis for what they're doing. Otherwise, we are calling for anarchy.
Nigerians have been asked to give the proposed national conference every support it deserves so as to serve as an avenue for national reconciliation and rededication to the task of national development. The Middle Belt Forum, in its presentation to the National Conference Advisory Committee in Jos, believes that the conference will not be a gathering to discuss how best to dissolve the nation, but a patriotic platform for finding lasting solutions to the problems of nation building.
Members of the Presidential Advisory Committee on the proposed national conference are in the North Central Zone to meet with Nigerians regarding the selection of delegates, the agenda for the conference, its recommendations which can be finally adopted into the Constitution, among other things, in Jos Plateau State.
We want this conference to be a conference of the people of Nigeria, a conference In other words, the issues that people want to talk about.
At the gathering, which includes political leaders, non-government organizations, several ethnic groups, the Middle Belt Forum made a presentation on its expectations for the conference.
We are strongly of the view that the proposed conference should be allowed to debate, discuss, analyze, and indeed dialogue on all issues with the objective of reaching consensus on how best to order the affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria so as to ensure and reinforce the unity, cohesion, stability, security, peace, social harmony, progress and development of the Federation.
From there, the committee paid a visit to the Plateau State Governor, Jonah Jang, who called for the cooperation of the National Assembly on the conference.
The National Assembly should not feel threatened. We cannot keep saying that because we have a National Assembly, we're taking the people have elected them, we're taking over their responsibilities. It's not their responsibilities there, it is the people's responsibility. And so they should accept whatever the people want, if they are true representatives of the people. And I believe that the National Assembly should not have the final say on the result of this dialogue.
The North Central Zone have voiced their concerns for the proposed national conference. But as the Presidential Advisory Committee continue its consultations nationwide, Nigerians now expect that the information gathered will ensure a successful national dialogue.
The All Progressives Congress has described the proposed national dialogue as a diversion from national issues. Addressing journalists in Abuja after a meeting of the party's National Executive Committee, the interim National Publicity Secretary of the party, Lai Mohammed, said the party is not averse to meaningful dialogue and that the proposed conference must be honestly handled.
We want to make it clear that our party is not averse to meaningful dialogue. However, this government has completely lost focus. They can't handle our economy. They cannot handle education, welfare of our children. The polity under them is on fire, and with corruption has developed legs. So we really see this national conference on their part as nothing but a diversion to run away from serious issues of governance. We in AP...
President Goodluck Jonathan will tomorrow, October the 23rd, visit Israel on a pilgrimage. While in Israel, the president is also scheduled to meet with President Shimon Peres, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and members of the Israeli Parliament's Knesset. Talks between officials of both countries are expected to focus on the enhancement of bilateral relations between them. A press statement signed by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ruben Abati, indicates that the President is also to meet with the President of the Palestinian National Authority, Mr. Mahmoud Abbas. The Presidency, however, denied reports that President Jonathan is leading a delegation of Nigerians to Israel, saying it's only a coincidence that the visit is taking place when some Nigerians are already in Israel on a pilgrimage also.
Okay, so you're done with that, Gloria?
That's it from here.